Hello and welcome, dear learner, to Amrita IS Academy. My name is Kshitij Dhiman and I am the faculty for Science and Technology. Today, we are going to talk about GS Mains Questions Analysis. As you know, we have started our series on Mains Questions Trend Analysis, which will greatly benefit our students and all the viewers for the upcoming main examination. We have already done for economy, geography, and polity. Today, we will talk about science and technology. We will be seeing questions from 2013 to 2020. Now, you must be wondering why 2013? Why not 2010 or 2005? Well, in 2013, UPSC changed the syllabus of the main examination, and hence, from that year, the question asking pattern also changed. So it makes more sense for us to analyze questions from that time. All right, so let's start. Now, whenever I begin my science and technology series, I always talk about this famous quotation. This was said by Rudyard Kipling. He said that I keep six honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names were what, why, when, how, where, and who. All right. So these are the six things that taught him everything. Now we can use these six things to teach us also everything, but everything regarding preparation only. We have to keep focus on preparation only. Now, whenever you tackle a topic or whenever you are reading a topic, put these six things in it. Basically, break an issue, any issue, into six topics like this. Obviously, you are preparing for UPSC examination, so you can add in it government initiatives also, right? So, for a UPSC aspirant, there can be seven things. These six things and government initiatives. So, let's see. Whenever there is a topic, let's say space program. So, we can say what is happening in space program, why something is happening in space program. There has been a talk, there has been a talk which is going on with regards to manned space mission. So, what is a manned space mission? Why do we need it? When it can happen? Or when was it started? How it will happen? What is the technology that is being used? Is there any law that is being introduced for it or not? Where it will happen? Which, let's say, which launch station will be used? And who is involved? All right. Who will be the pilot? Who is the organization? Obviously, ISRO will be there for India. So, this is how you can analyze any given topic in these six spheres. Obviously, you can add one more, which is government schemes. Got it? So, the agenda that today we will have for this session is four agendas are there. Understanding the syllabus first, then we will see the trend analysis, then we will see shortly how to prepare, what sources you can refer, then briefly I will give you some tips regarding answer writing. Now, why did I say understanding the syllabus? Yes, you can go and read from notification, no problem. But main thing is to understand what it is demanding from a student. So let's get started. This is the official syllabus that is given in the notification by UPSC. Here there are 3 points. Let us see them one by one. So first is science and technology, developments and their applications and effects in everyday life. So they are not going to ask you. Now this is the understanding part. So what are they focusing on? Focus on the keyword. The keyword they have mentioned. Application and effects in everyday life. Not in some very technical or scientific way. No. Where it can actually be utilized in real life. So what we have to focus on then? Whenever we are reading about anything, we have to focus how it can be utilized in daily life. Like there are chemicals in our food, how it will affect our daily life. There are pesticides which are used in farming, how it can affect our daily life, right? So science and technology is applicable to all our lives. I'm right now talking to you because of science and technology. You are able to view this video on YouTube because of science and technology. You will be reading about 5G. But what is the application of it? How it can improve the life of a common man? That is the issue that you should know. Many people will get stuck only on the technology part. They will scratch their head and try to understand everything about the technology. We don't have to do that. That is the demand of the syllabus. The demand of the syllabus is understanding the application. And since this is a general studies paper, it's not master's degree paper of university. This is just a general studies paper. So you have to focus on how it can be used for the general public. This is very important. Whenever you're reading in class, whenever you're reading any newspaper, whenever you're reading NCRTs, please focus on how it can be used in daily life, right? That will make things easier, because in UPSC everybody knows what to read, but one of the most crucial part is what not to read. And that is why I'm analyzing this in so much depth. We need to analyze what not to read, what to leave, so that we can focus on what to do, and then we can do it better. Otherwise, you might have heard people saying that syllabus is huge. Yes, it is huge. It's quite a big syllabus. But then again, if you stick to the syllabus, you can manage the exam. Otherwise, you can keep reading, reading, reading. There is no end to it. Right? Next point, achievements of Indians in science and technology. Next part is indigenization of technology and developing new technology. Now, in achievements, we can talk about the achievements that have been in the past, like Homi Bhabha, Dr. Homi Bhabha, right, and many other people. We can talk about the current developments that are going on, especially like Nobel Prize. Next part, indigenization. This means developing something inside your country or region, that is coming from inside rather than importing, right? So the opposite will be import. Like that is more applicable in which area? You must have, if you're reading newspapers, you must be knowing that we import a lot of defense equipment. So indigenization of technology, there is a lot of discussion going on with regards to defense equipment, and recently some steps also have been taken with regards to developing things in India itself, right? And why it is important, why indigenization is given, why some specific keyword? Because in any wartime, in any critical disaster time, we might need some technology to protect ourselves, right? So that other country might not utilize that time to grab our land or something. So we need technology that we can support ourselves, we can build ourselves. Like in COVID, when COVID-19 happened, lot of supplies were disrupted. There is a concept called global supply chain, which is in economics. Of course, it is not in our science and technology syllabus. I'm just giving you an example. So that was disrupted. Supplies from countries were disrupted. Hence, our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, is also asking people to become Atmanirbhar and make the country Atmanirbhar, right? So, indigenization of technology and developing new technology. Of course, new technology is uh, important in our syllabus because we need to know what is going on in the country and the world. We need to be aware, right? Now, that word aware brings me to the next point. Awareness in the fields of IT, space, computers, robotics, nanotechnology, biotechnology, and issues relating to intellectual property rights. Now, if you see, there are many things which are not there in prelim syllabus. In preliminary examination syllabus, you will not find in achievements, indigenization, and IPR. You will find these things: IT, space, computer, robotics. You have to read this for prelims also. So, what about the topics that are common in prelim and mains? What to do about them? See, here I would like to tell you about the integrated approach. Whenever you are talking about these topics which are common in prelims and mains, do them from mains perspective. That means you should do the factual things and analytical things both. The things which are only there in prelims, you can focus only on fact for them, but things which are common in fact, sorry, in prelims and mains, you have to focus both on fact and analytical. So awareness. Now see, the keyword is not the syllabus actually, or rather the IT space, computers, etc. The keyword is awareness. They are not asking you to be, having in-depth knowledge. Otherwise, they would have written in-depth knowledge of IT space computers, but they have not. So what do we need to do? We need to analyze this and we need to understand that we just need to be aware. Now, what does this mean? How can we implement this? We can just read newspapers, we can just do the classes that will be provided to our students and just focus on that. Focus on understanding those things. Don't go and buy a book on one topic, right? That will be equivalent to doing PhD for UPSC, which is not at all required. Remember, this is a general studies paper. You have to be aware like a general person, but of course you have to prepare also a little bit, right? One of the most interesting thing is they say that in syllabus that a general person would be aware, but the point is we don't treat newspaper that properly, whenever we are not preparing, or even in school we used to just cram things to pass the examination, right? So here we are we are required to do the deep study again because we did not do things properly at that time. But again, this is nobody's fault, it's just how things are. All right, so this is the syllabus analysis word by word which is given by UPSC. Now here is something special which I brought for you. All right, I analyzed all the papers, right? And according to that, I have restructured the syllabus a bit, which will help you in analyzing syllabus better, and that will give you basically a sort of you can say a sense of belonging, in the sense there are some topics which belong together. Like here, let me show you. IT space and computer robotics, they belong together, right? Space and defense, they belong together. All right, and this is another topic which applies to this also and this also. So I have restructured this a bit. Let us see that. So the restructured syllabus is like this. Overall introduction of what? See, here you have to study science and technology, overall policies in India. Like what is the government doing to promote science and technology, scientific temperament in India? You might be knowing there is a fundamental duty with regards to science and technology. Please go see that, right? Basically, scientific temperament development. So, science and technology with regards to all of India, right? The central government policy. What is happening over there? That is going to come under overall introduction. Also, things like innovation policy will come here, right? Next, we come to space technology. That is understood. Intellectual property rights, again, no need to explain. Then I have clubbed these frontier technologies together. I call them frontier technologies, right? So we need to focus their application on everyday life. We do not have to go in depth of how they work. We just have to understand few definitions. That's it. If you go in depth, it is of no use. They are just not asking. I'll show you the questions. So IT, computer robotics, I have clubbed them. So here you can see in the syllabus, these are the first three keywords, right? So IT, space, computers, and robotics. Sorry, the first four keywords in there are space is also there. Okay, so IT, computer, and robotics, I have clubbed them together. Then there is biotech, which is a separate chapter or topic. Nanotechnology. Then this is somewhat hidden, right? Now these topics, sorry, energy is somewhat hidden. You will not find the direct mention of it. But nowadays, what is happening is UPSC is clubbing two topics, right? So in energy, what you can see is the science part of it. For example, fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells, microbial fuel cells. You can see the basic of how they are working, right? And I'll tell you one standard of how to keep things basic. Just focus on whatever is coming in the newspaper or whatever is being taught to you in class. That's it, right? And even then, if you don't understand something, then you can Google. Otherwise, don't, right? We have to keep this very general. We have to know about wide area, not in depth, right? So don't do depth study, do wide study. All right. Next point is contribution of Indians and indigenization of technology. Now, why have I clubbed this again? These are two different topics in syllabus. All right. So, because Indians are developing new technology, indigenization will be from India itself, right? So we have, I have combined this in this way. Now again, this is sort of a hidden topic. In 2020, the question was asked on COVID-19 and related technologies. So health is mentioned in syllabus, but it is mentioned in GS paper 2. So why did I put it here? Because the technological aspect of health related things is to be taken up in science and technology. It cannot be taken up in GS paper 2, right? Then there is defense basics, then women in science. Oh, pardon me, the icon is wrong. Women in science. Now, this is also a hidden topic. Now, recently, as you know, feminization wave has started in the country also, right? So it makes us smart if we do this. If we think about women in science, what are the issues they are facing? What are the government schemes that are being deployed, right? Why have I included this? Because recently, let's say in the past 2 3 years, government has been actively focusing on promoting women or female participation in science, right? This is basically a gender parity policy. All right. So these are the things which I've given you by analyzing the government initiatives and UPSC previous year questions. This is how you can understand and prepare better. All right. So what is the aim of the syllabus? What do you think? So the aim of the syllabus is to create a scientific Indian and which will lead to scientific India, right? And since this is a UPSC examination which is there for selection of administrators, UPSC will get scientific administrators, right? So that you can take decision based on fact. You can take decisions based on fixed science so that it will lead to better results. So scientific policy making. All right. Now we come to the next part of our agenda, which is the trend analysis. Here also I've made things easier for you. We have divided the topic of science and technology into two parts, the general part and India specific. We will see the questions have been distributed in this way. We will see them. All right. So we can see the marks 40 marks in 2013. In 2014, 25 plus 12.5 marks. In 2015, again same. 2016, a little bit less. 2017, 35, 25, 2019, 25, 2020, 25. So basically, the ratio is being maintained. So you are getting minimum 2 questions. Actually, there was another question which we have not included here. It is based on energy, but we have kept that in economy itself. Got it? So there is always a overlap. If they have asked something with regards to agriculture and technology, you can put it in agriculture also, in science and technology also, right? So sometimes this happens in 1 or 2 questions. It happens. All right. So as you can see, out of 250, 10% of the paper is science and technology, and you never know, they can increase it to 30 marks, 35 marks, or decrease it to 10 marks also, right? But as life is beginning, or our life in present time, technology is so much integrated that I don't think so that UPSC will ever decrease the marks or the questions asked. Most probably they will increase, because science and technology is such an area that it is very dynamic. That is why you can see this in prelims also. increasingly they are asking 10 to 20 questions every year, right? So 10% of the paper or maximum 20% of papers from just one section, science and technology. So importance is there. That's what I want to tell you. You cannot skip it. Whatever source you follow, please read it carefully, divide it into subtopics, right? And try to analyze it from the previous year questions, which I will just share with you shortly. So let's talk about the contemporary technology like nanotech, biotech. All right. So in 2020, a question came about nanotechnology. It had two parts. Simply, they are asking, what do you understand by nanotechnology and how is it helping in health sector? So, how to analyze this? Health sector, quite broad. This is very broad. Like they did not ask you about maternal health or let's say female health or child health or old age health. No, they just asked you about health sector. So it is quite broad, all right, and it is quite easy to answer also. So you just have to define nanotechnology and give a little introduction, then talk about the health sector, right? Next question was asked in 2018. Why is there so much activity in the field of biotechnology in our country? How has this activity benefited the field of biopharma? So you have to tell majorly, you have to tell what are the reasons for so much activity. Okay. Secondly, you have to tell how it is helping in the biopharma. Pharma is medicine related. So see, can you see the pattern? Health, health. See what they're asking. Focus on what they're asking. So nanotechnology, they're asking health. Biotechnology, they're asking health. Next is stem cell therapy is gaining popularity in India to treat a wide variety of medical conditions, including leukemia, thalassemia, damaged cornea. I think this will be a cornea, and several burns. Describe briefly what stem cell therapy is and what advantages it has over other treatments. Right. So here you have to describe about the applications of stem cell therapy. So whenever you're reading a topic, I've told you before, divide it into 6 parts, right? So what is the use of stem cell therapy? They just ask that, simple. Now here you can see they're trying to confuse you. First two lines is given as a context, as a base. So many times UPSC will do this. They will give you a context and ask a question then. So be very careful of the context, right? So they have asked you briefly, you have to define stem cell therapy and what advantages it has over other treatments. So here you can't just write advantages. You have to write advantages and compare it with other diseases, sorry, other treatments. That is the important, that is the crux. If you write just advantages, you will get partial answer, right? And then that will lead to partial marks, right? So this is how you need to analyze. Continuing with the contemporary technologies, give an account of the growth and development of nuclear science and technology in India. What is the advantage of fast breeder reactor program in India? Now, this comes in energy, right? Nuclear energy. So they are asking overall growth and development of nuclear science and technology. This is probably you have to write in this from independence till 2017, right? And then they are asking advantage of fast breeder reactor. So in this you can write briefly, you can make a diagram of fast breeder reactor. Don't have to explain much in it because they're not asking directly. So briefly you just have to tell how it works and then majorly focus on advantage and then conclude. Next question, 2016. Why is nanotechnology one of the key technologies of 21st century? See why they are asking. Describe the salient features of Indian government's mission on nanoscience and technology and the scope of its application in the development process of the country. So they're not, see, now break down the question. First is this part. Second is this part. Third is this part, scope. Right? So break down in 3 parts. Break down your answer in 3 parts also, and then answer each by each separately. So why it is one of the important technologies? Because of its scope only. Describe the salient features. This you have to mug up. Like I told you, as UPSC people, we have to focus on 7 men, right? 6 of your Rudyard Kipling and 1 is government schemes. So here you have to read about government policies in main examination. Then scope. If you know about this, you can easily write it. Next question, 2015. What are the areas or of prohibitive labor that can be sustainably managed by robots? Now, this is directly a topic mentioned in the syllabus. Discuss the initiatives that can propel the research in premier research institutes for substantive and gainful innovation. Okay, one thing I forgot in the last question. In the previous one, it is talking about development process. So this is everyday life. All right, this is not something which they asked, which is very scientific in nature. No, they're directly asking how it can supplement the effort or help in development process of the country. All right. Now coming back to the question of 2015, they are asking basically advantages of robot, how robots can help, but they have been very. The question is very specific. It is about prohibitive labor, so that is basically hazardous, like manual scavenging or chemical based industries or mining based industries where there are a lot of deaths. So these things can be written. So you have to be very specific. Now discuss the initiatives that can propel the research. Now this is again the government schemes. They have twisted it in a very beautiful way. The words are very beautiful, but don't get panicked or afraid or shocked because of the language. Focus on what they're asking exactly. Break it down. Understand the demand of the question. Right? Understand the simple words behind the difficult words. Or rather, I should say the simple meaning behind the difficult words. Continuing with the contemporary technology, 2013 they asked about two questions. How does 3D printing technology work? It was quite new at that time and it was very much in use. They simply asked advantages and disadvantages. Next is what is an FRP composite material? Now this was a bit hard. This was a bit hard question. How are they manufactured? Discuss their application in aviation and automobile industries. So it's a very light material which was in use at that time because of its application, because it will make vehicles very light. All right, so we don't have to go in depth of answers right now, but try to just understand why they're asking. They're focusing on current. Science and technology is a very dynamic topic, so focus on current events that are going on, and again list, make a list of topics, okay, and then break it down, break the topic into 6 to 7 parts. So here you can add these things also. In the 7 things you can add positive and negative. Then here just see what they're asking. Discuss their application in everyday life. Aviation and automobile is everyday life, right? So they are not asking something very difficult. They just want you to be very aware. That's all. You have to be aware of what is going on in the world. Next, we come to another topic, which is science and technology in everyday life. Now, this is a question which was asked in 2020. Question is about COVID-19 pandemic. One question was obviously expected in the paper, but in what section? That is up to UPSC. So UPSC asked that COVID-19 pandemic has caused unprecedented devastation worldwide. However, technological advancements are being availed readily to win over the crisis. This is the context. Question actually is give account of how technology was sought to aid management of the pandemic. This is the actual question. The other two statements are just context. So you have to write the answer in the context. That is why they are giving the context. Every word in UPSC paper is important. So I think this is very easy question. You just have to basically you have to talk about COVID application which India built, right? Which is a very famous application. It works very good, very well. Arogya Setu was used, right? So these are two prime examples, right? You can use worldwide examples also, because here it is not written whether technology is Indian or American or European. Whatever technology that comes to your mind, you can write about it. Because obviously vaccine technology, because of which we were able to create vaccines in record time, you should really read about that, because earlier in the last 30 years technology has grown a lot in vaccine development, because of which we were able to create vaccines in such a short and record time, right? So you can divide this answer into stages. You can talk about vaccines, you can talk about vaccine management also, right? You can talk about masks, sanitizer, like this. 2014 question. Next is, can overuse and free availability of antibiotics without doctor's prescription be contributors to emergence of drug resistant disease? So that's the first part of the question. What are the available mechanisms for monitoring and control? Second part, critically discuss the various issues involved. This is the third part. Now here you can see there is a keyword called critically discuss. So according to this, you have to frame the answer. So you have to reply overuse is this in yes or no. It is actually answer yes. Then you have to tell what are the mechanisms for monitoring and control. Now this is what? This is government initiatives, right? So in main examination, whatever topic you are reading with regards to science and technology, please focus on government initiatives, the steps the government has taken. There, it was quite a bit in news. There was something called red mark movement also, wherein if the packet of medicine had red mark, doctor prescription was required to give it, because this happened a lot, because of which multi drug resistant disease are coming up. And there is also a category of bugs, or you can say, yeah, bugs only, that are resistant to any drug known to humankind. So such bugs are also there. Like in TB, there is multi-drug resistant TB also, right? So these things are coming up. Why? Because people are taking antibiotics without doctor's prescription, first of all. Secondly, even if they take prescription, they don't complete the cycle, right? So because of which the disease, or the disease causing bacteria, it mutates. All right, it changes its nature because it is not killed in the body. Also, we are buying products like animal products, milk, meat, and all that. They are also being given a lot of antibiotics to keep them healthy, etc. So because of which those antibiotics are coming into our body indirectly. So that is also creating a problem. So all these things were in news, and because of which this topic was asked. Now, whenever you're reading a topic, it is not necessary that UPSC is going to ask what you are reading. But if you at least maintain a standard of preparation, wherein at least you are preparing good from the class, wherever you have joined, or if you have not joined, you can do it from your own self studies. So whatever you're doing, like you have to read newspapers. So whatever you're doing, just if you do it properly, and if you're aware of the things, you can write something in the examination. Don't worry about that. Problem happens in examination is of recall and in time management. We'll talk about that later. Next, 2013. What do you understand by fixed dose drug combinations? Discuss their merits and demerits. Quite straightforward and simple question. If you know about this thing, you can write it. If you don't, you can't. So this is basically PCM. Fixed dose combination drug is PCM, where two, three things are mixed into it, and they sell it, right? So this was also in news. There was some policy with regards to this. Next is, what do you understand by umpire decision review system in cricket? Discuss its various components. Explain how silicon tape on edge of a bat may fool the system. Now, every sports lover would love this question. They would have written this just by hearing the commentary of the umpire, right? So just see what they're asking. Even if the topic is sort of, you know, you can say out of a little usual topics, just see what they're asking. They're asking how it can fool the system. So basically, application. So whatever you are reading, focus on application of it. That's it. That will solve half of your problem. And of course, if you're reading some things application, you will obviously read its definition. You're done. You're 60% done. Next is government schemes and some demerits and merits of the technology. So this is how you analyze previous year questions, so that you can structure your preparation. You can structure your notes, because whatever notes you make, right, you will write that thing only in main examination. Whatever notes of classes or self study, whatever you're doing, I'm including both the students, right? That thing will actually be converted into main answers. Got it? So you have to be very careful about what you focus on. You have to be very clinical. You have to be focused. Now, one thing let me tell you. Overall, if you see in this slide, questions are of health sector. But what are they asking? They are asking specific things with regards to technology. They are not asking about health policy, right? Anywhere they have not asked. They are not asking what scheme are there for promoting health for all. No, they are asking about the technology that is going on in health. That is why I've included in the restructured syllabus the health, pillar. Okay. Next, achievements of Indian scientists in science and technology. In 2018, a question was asked on Bose-Einstein statistics done by Professor Satyendra Nath Bose and show how it revolutionized the field of physics. Now, this was a very specific question, and it's okay if you don't know this because it happens. Some question will be there in main examination from some section that will throw you off. And if you have read it, very good. It's not very difficult question. Yes, it is a bit typical question. So if you have read about it, very good. If you have not, then it's better to leave it because don't bluff. Again, we'll discuss about this in the end of the session, but don't bluff, right? It wastes your ink, your time, crucial time in those 3 hours, which you will not even realize they just fly by, right? Those 3 hours when you just start writing, you don't you lose every sense of outside what is happening. You just looking at the paper and just question paper answer sheet, question paper answer sheet, just writing. So you have no time to waste. So if you don't know something, please just leave it, focus on other questions. Maximum you can get 6 or 7 out of 10, right? Maximum 8 to 9 out of 15. It's just a guess, educated guess, right? So just focus on other question, try to increase your marks in other question. That's all you can do, right? This is how you adapt. UPSC wants you to adapt. They want people who will not panic under pressure. And if you, even if you panic, just regain control of yourself, take deep breaths, drink water, look away to walls and everything, and just come back. All right. Next, 2014 question. Scientific research in Indian universities is declining because a career in science is not as attractive as our business professions, engineering, administration, and universities are becoming consumer oriented. Critically comment. Now, this is a directive. Recently, UPSC has decreased usage of directives, but not that much, just a little bit. Still, they are there. So here you have to talk about Indian universities and a career in science and is not attractive. It is attractive actually. So you have to give here examples. Here there is not much role of writing things, writing general things. Here you have to give examples of famous people or people who are doing research or how Indian universities are doing some good like this. So this is again current. This is has to be done from newspaper itself, right? There is no available material for this. That is why I'm saying you have to focus on awareness. You have to focus on creating your own awareness of things. Otherwise you will always be dependent on some or the other material. If you're reading something from class, Google it. If you're not understanding, read one or two articles. That's it. Don't read too much on any given topic. Don't read too much. What does that mean? That means don't go in too much depth. Don't, because you have to maximum you have to write 250 word answer or 150 word answer. What is the use of making 500 word or 800 word article or sorry notes, right? I keep coming back to notes because they are important. They are very important in revision, right? So whatever you are studying, you have to revise them again and again and focus on application. Now let's come to another topic, which is intellectual property right. Now this topic is not at all there in prelim examination. We don't touch it at all in any preliminary examination syllabus. So this is quite a new topic and very interesting. And the reason it is included because it is very closely related or rather directly related to innovation. We have to have good IPR policies to protect and promote, right? Protect and promote innovation. So in 2019, UPSC asked, how is the government of India protecting traditional knowledge of medicines from patenting by pharmaceutical companies? Now, with this, I would like to read the next question also. In 2015, it was asked, India's traditional knowledge digital library. Now, see the keyword traditional knowledge, traditional knowledge, same topic, different aspect. That's all. So the question is India's traditional knowledge digital library, which has a database containing formatted information on more than 2 million medicine formulations, is proving a powerful weapon in countries' fight against erroneous patents. 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 Discuss the pro and cons of making the database available publicly under the open source licensing. Now, if you have not thought of it, I'm telling you right now, it is almost the same answer for both of them. Same answer almost, because they are asking about traditional knowledge digital library and the benefit of it, which is patenting. Same thing. Now, this is happening why? Because, or why it was asked this question, because American companies they are trying to patent haldi. All right, because there are benefits from having haldi. We have it in our diet. Indians have it in their diet all the time. So we are protected naturally from many diseases. You must have heard, or your mother must have given you haldi with warm milk, right? Whenever you have been hurting, or you have high fever, or you have some, internal injury like some swollen, you must have twisted your ankle sometime or something. So haldi is a very potent, you can say, medicinal uh, plant. Okay, so they are or American or Western companies, they are trying to take that away because we have not patented it. All right, but we have the formulations. Our Ayurvedic formulations are there, but of course at that time when Ayurveda was there was no patenting, concept of patenting. So now that patent has come up, the concept has come up, companies are trying to use our ancient formulas and try to sell it as their own product, right? So this is basically stealing. So we have to be aware of this. Now this is asked again. Why? Because it applies to general people. Because there are many people in India who practice this Ayurvedic treatments. They sell it, and if company is patenting it, they can seriously file a case against the practitioner who is giving it in India. All right. So this is basically company versus common man. Right, so this is how things are there, and these things comes in newspaper, trust me. While you're reading, this will come up. All you need to do is keep an eye and connect it with the syllabus. That is why I have broken down syllabus in another way, in a structured way. I have given you two structures. One is science and technology in general, science and technology in India, right? Next, I've given you a structure of restructured syllabus, so you can use that whenever you're reading. Just put that current affairs or static part into that topic only. Make your notes. I would really advise make notes. Make notes at one place. Whenever you're reading by biotechnology, whatever you're reading, put it in your notes so that you don't have to refer to that article again or that book again. Then you can shorten your notes as you revise. Next, 2014 question. In a globalized world, IPR assumes significance and are source of litigation. Broadly distinguish between the terms copyrights, patents, and trade secrets. This was asked in 2014, just 1 year after the syllabus was changed. So they did not ask any analytical question. They asked about basic facts. Now, whenever you're reading about IPR, you will read about this copyright, patents, at least. Trade secret is again a little easy, but just a applied term. So yeah, anybody who's reading IPR, they know about copyright and patents. So it was quite an approachable question. Next, 2013, bringing out the circumstances in 2005 which forced amendment to the section 3D of Indian patent law, discuss how it has been utilized by the government, by the Supreme Court in its judgment in rejecting Novartis patent application of Glevic. Discuss briefly the pros and cons of the decision. So break down the question. First of all, you have to tell about the section 3D. Okay, and you have to tell why it was amended in 2005. All right, then you have to talk about Novartis patent which they filed. Okay, and then you have to tell what are the pros and cons of the decision. Basically, pro and cons means implications of the decision. What are the implications, or what will happen now? So, quite a good question. It is. It has to be broken down in parts. You have to create a small structure in the answer itself and answer the parts. All right. Now, briefly, I would like to tell you about this section. It is about something which cannot be patented. All right, which cannot be patented. So, section 3D is basically about stopping evergreening. Evergreening means there are companies which try to extend their patent. See, patent is given just for 20 years. So, after 20 years, company wants to extend it so that they can keep earning from it. So, they want to extend it, but sometimes they are not able to innovate. See, patent is given for something which is innovative, which is very new. Now they are not able to innovate, so they want to. What they do is they change something slightly in the structure, and it has no effect, right? So they will change something, and they will tell the court, okay, we have changed something. Please give us patent. But what happened was the court or the law recognized this, that people are doing this. So the law said that until and unless there is a very or you can, or the company can show efficacy. Efficacy means company can show that new drug which they have developed after the 20 years, it really enhances the effect of the drug. Okay, if they can show that it enhances the drug, then they will give the patent. All right, so basically company is trying to uh, let's say renew their patent, right? But that cannot be given until something new is given by the company. So what they do is they change the structure slightly. They say that okay, this is something new, but then government got to know of this. They changed the law. They said that if your new drug, we don't care about the structure. If that drug is effective, that effectiveness has changed, or it has increased, or it is targeting some new disease also, until that we cannot give you the patent. So this is about the section 3D. So this term evergreening is there. There is another term which is called compulsory licensing. This is not related to this question. It just popped in my mind, so I'm just telling you. You can read about it. So this is Novartis versus Union of India, is a very famous case in this. Okay, so Novartis changed something, but it was not proved that it was effective, or the change did not lead to any new effectiveness, right? So the government, sorry, the court rejected it. Actually, the pharma companies really criticize this section, because many times their claim has been rejected because new they will put new drug, they will change some structure, but it will not be any effective, so the patent is rejected. All right, now we come to the next topic, which is space sector. Question came in 2019. Question was, what is India's plan to have its own space station, and how it will benefit, or will it benefit our space program? So what and how, right? So if you are talking about our own, let's say the topic is India's own space station, you will see, you will divide it into what is, right? Why do you want to build it? How will it, how it will help the country? Simple. That is what they have asked. So if you see, if you prepare properly, you will be able to tackle many questions. That's it. Half of the game is preparing properly. If you don't prepare properly, you will fumble up in mains, you will try to think something, and on the spot you cannot think for more than 2 3 questions. Rest of the questions you have to quickly make a small structure and start writing. 2017, India has achieved remarkable successes in unmanned space mission, including Chandrayaan and MOM, the Mars orbiter mission, but has not ventured into manned space station. Right, manned. So both in terms of technology and logistics, explain critically. So here you have to talk about the issues and what can be done. That's it. Issues in what? In manned space mission. Next, 2016 question. Discuss India's achievement in the field of space science and technology. how has the application of this technology helped in socio-economic development? Now this comes in the first part, in overall issues, although it is in space also. But yes, that's why I'm telling now, there is some overlap. All the time there will be some overlap between economy or science, and even between science topics. Okay, so this overall is the first one which I discussed in the restructuring of the syllabus, this overall introduction. All right. So you have to discuss the achievements in the space. You have to talk about how we developed our launch vehicles and all. Then you have to tell that how it has helped in social economic development. It has obviously helped in our economy. It has provided jobs. It has given a very high status symbol to India. India's ISRO and its India's ISRO is very highly regarded organization in the world, which helps in international relations also. Many companies or many countries are not able to launch their own satellites, so they do it via ISRO. So it helps in fraternity, it helps in building good international relations, because we are quite efficient with our money. We provide very cost effective solutions. Next, 2015 question: what do you understand by standard positioning system and precision positioning system in GPS era? Very small difference. Okay. Discuss the advantage India perceives from its ambitious IRNAS program by employing just 7 satellites. Now, if we briefly talk about this, standard positioning system is basically available to all, like civilians. Precision positioning system is available to military. It is more precise. As you can see from the name itself, it is more precise. Approximately, this is accuracy 20 meters. This is not an exact figure. I'm just telling you, for example, and this might be, accurate to 5 to 10 meters. That means if you're standing here, GPS will show you are here in 20-meter area, but precision positioning system will show that you are in this area. So it is used for military. Then IRNAS, which is basically Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. This was in news at that time, right? So you had to discuss about its advantages. You can briefly draw the diagram that it where it will go outside India, right? The range of this, all right, and then you can discuss the advantages. All right. So this is how you had to deal with this. All right. So we have seen the questions. Now let us briefly see the sources. Sources will be NCRT, but NCRT is basically focused more on science. That is the theoretical part, like Newton's law, how chemicals are developed, and so on. But as you can see, the questions that are being asked, they're mostly from technology part. Moreover, from the current applications, rather than what is given in NCRTs. So yes, if you are from non-science background, you can definitely start with NCRTs to understand how science works. Then you can move on to your classes, like the theory notes that will be given about technologies. Technologies like biotechnology, nanotechnology, IT, computer, robotics. For example, in computer, you will read about supercomputers, quantum computing. All right, in IT, you might read about industrial revolution, the fourth industrial revolution. You will read about cyber physical systems. In robotics, you will read about physical robots, software robotic automation, like this. So you have to understand current affairs, but you will not be able to understand them until unless you do your theory part. So pillar based approach, this is theory, this is current affairs. So if you don't understand this, your current affairs will not work, because even if you are reading just current affairs, you will not understand terms, and then you will google it. So basically that is theory. So if you have joined a class, please focus on the theory and the current affairs that are being given to you. If you are doing self study, I will tell you for that also. Please focus on newspaper. Just pick up one newspaper and do it very well, right? You can use Hindu, you can use Indian Express, doesn't matter, really it doesn't matter. I've seen both of them multiple times. I've read it multiple times for years. Point is, nobody will miss anything. It's just about the presentation. Hindu is a slightly critical paper, and that's okay because we need to know what are the problems with government initiatives. Indian Express is slightly a centrist, so it basically supports the government also and criticizes where it is needed. So you can refer whatever you want. Hindu has the best orientation for UPSC preparation. They waste nothing, in the sense they are very targeted, and they don't waste any time. Indian Express has also increased its quality a lot in the past 2 years. So you can follow that also. It is totally fine, whatever you follow. Indian Express started the Explained series. Now Hindu is also doing that on Sundays. So both are doing the same things. All right. So focus on technology page, and whatever you don't understand, just Google it, but don't go for depth. Don't start watching 10-hour videos on something on just one topic. Remember, you just have to prepare 300 to 500 worded notes on a topic, because we study 80%, okay, we remember around 50%, we write around 30%. So if you write 300 to 500 words, you will at least be able to remember 200 words, and then you can insert grammar and write something, make a diagram, and fill the pages as much as you can. So these are the sources that you can refer. So both class notes, if you're joined a coaching, any coaching, especially if you're with us, we'll be providing theory lectures and current affairs both. So both will be given to you. If you joined any other coaching, there also you will get theory and current affairs. If you're preparing on your own, if you're from science background, you can just give one reading to NCRT and then straight away jump to current affairs. If you're not from science background, please read NCRT carefully, so that you understand just basic 1 or 2 times, so that you understand how it works. Or you can see some videos whenever you have doubt. Then everybody has to do newspapers. All right. Okay, so the final part of the video, since this is a video for mains analysis, it is imperative that I talk about answer writing. So I have divided this thing into these are 7 points. These are not exhaustive. You can add to it whatever you need. You can delete what you feel like you don't need. That's fine, totally fine. Customize the preparation. My job is to give you an overall analysis. You can add, delete, whatever you want, modify according to your own needs. Everybody has a different way of doing things. You will meet 10 people who have 10 different ways of reading Lakshmikant. Believe it or not. Alright, so let's get started on this. Please focus on the directive keyword. Critically analysis, discuss, elaborate. Alright, exemplify. Focus on this. Structure will not change a lot, but still a little bit of orientation according to the directive keyword will really help in showing the examiner that you are following the question totally. It is not necessary when you don't have time, but when you can properly attempt the question, please follow the directive keyword. Now let's come to the second point. Before starting any answer, don't just start writing. Read it twice. Okay, so the second and third point will go together. Read it twice and try to understand the demand. Like I told you, sometimes you will find flashy words. You have to see what they are asking. What are the demand behind the flashy words? All right. So basically, you have to focus on understanding, reading between the lines. Then, before writing the answer, make a short structure. Like an intro, you will write definition like this. Then body, you will write this. Then in conclusion, you will write about, let's say, some quotation. Right. So if you do this, just 5 6 lines. Whenever you are writing the body, it will help you stick to the structure, right? Because many times what happens is we have thought about something, but while we are writing in the body, third or fourth point will miss. That happens. So create a brief structure, and with practice you will create it in within seconds. First time, for first 100 times you will feel that it is waste a time wastage thing, but no, as you as you give your mocks, you will see that definitely this structuring helps, because then you are able to structure the answer. There is something called flow, which is very important. While presenting, it is very important that you give it in a structure. So that brings me to second point. Oh, sorry, next part. Follow IBC: introduction, body, and conclusion. Have a structure. While I was discussing the questions, past year questions, I told you break the question into parts and answer them like this. Have a structure. Show the examiner you are addressing every point. Because in main examination, 50% is content and 50% is presentation. If you are not able to tell the examiner that you know, then what is the use of studying so much? This is the harsh truth, right? Examiner has quite less time to go through your paper, right? So make things easier for them to see. Then paragraph or point wise approach. Here there are two things. First of all, opinion based questions. If they're asking you what do you think about something, if they're asking your opinion, then you have to write 2 3 lines and so on. If it is totally fact based, like what is manned space mission, why India is not doing it, or what are the problems, then you can go for point wise approach. All right. Even opinion based, if you're writing one para, it should not be more than 3 to 4, 2 to 3 sentences, that's it. All right. Or if you write on the UPSC structure paper, you can at the most write 5 or 6 words. So 5 to 6 lines is enough. For a point, you can write 2 lines or 1 or 2 lines. So this is how you manage. Now this will come for practice. With practice, you will realize which are opinion based, which are fact based. Next is time management. Please, whenever you're attempting mocks, you have to see in which hour you are performing better. Try to complete. Try to complete the paper. It is very important because you never know which answer will be liked by the examiner. Okay, so while time management includes completing the paper and giving almost equal attention to every question. I'm saying almost because some questions you will know quite well, so you will try to write everything. But no, please remember there are 10 questions, 10 marks, 10 question, 15 marks. So these 10 questions carry equal marks. So if you write 5 very good answers in this, you will most of all get 6. But if you write 5 bad answers, then you get 2 2 2. Then you get 30 here, you get 10 here. But if you write average answer in everything, let's say you get 5 in every. Okay, so this is 40, then you get 50 if you get 5 in every question, right? So try to average out things. Don't focus on very beautiful attempt or something. Write average marks, average content for every question. Try to attempt as much as you can. Of course, if you don't know any question, don't fake it. Which brings me to the next question. Next part, unfamiliar question. So if it is totally unfamiliar to you, leave it. Don't bluff. Respect the examiner. Don't waste their time with rubbish. Because let's say while you're attempting the paper, it is the fourth question which you don't know. Now you have written something very simple in it, or bluffed it. So examiner will really get into a bad mood, and they will get an impression that you are such a kind of person that will lie. Now even if you have written good answers in the further questions, they will have an impression that you have cheated with them. So they might not give you, somewhere where you deserve 8, they might give you 6.5. After all, examiner is a human. Just put yourself in examiner's shoes, right? What will you do if a student lies to you? You will obviously get pissed off. So if it is totally unfamiliar, leave it. If you know partially, write what is relevant. Don't bluff. Like in interview preparation, everybody is guided that don't bluff, be yourself. Same here. Don't bluff. Write what you know. Don't write what you don't know. Just leave it alone. Attempt other questions well. Focus on other questions. Average it out. Right? All right. So let's quickly recap. Basically, remember these 6 things and government schemes. We have seen the syllabus, right? The structured syllabus. Remember that. Then we have seen the trend, how many marks being asked. Then we have seen the trends in questions, how they are asking, what they are asking, how to analyze the question, right? What to focus while reading. So I've discussed everything practically with you rather than being theoretical. I've discussed with the question examples, or questions as examples. And finally, we have seen writing tips. You can add more things, definitely. It is not an exhaustive list, I am telling you myself. But yes, these are the major questions, or major questions that you will basically deal with while answer writing. All right, so focus on these things and all will be well. All right, so that is all from my side. Thank you for watching this session. I wish you all the best. Please remember to revise. Revision is extremely crucial. Don't read anything new after a while. Don't make too large notes. Mains is very approachable if you do it systematically. All right, so go in a framework, all will be well. All right, so we will meet again sometime. Till then, take care. Good luck again. Bye bye.